Hello. It was such a pretty day outside. I thought I'd face a different direction so you could see the fir trees. We'll get right to it by talking about a 1,040 square foot house in Rockville, where the couple had lots of books and art. They had both been moved into a nursing home. The photos at the end of this segment will show nicely bound books and art books. The books sold at auction because people like the leather-bound books for show, even if they weren't going to read them. The art books were popular because they were going to read them and look at the photos or use the art pictures in craft projects. There's also some encyclopedias in one photo, and they were not sold at auction when I was operating attic to basement estate cleanouts. People were going online to find out information. Unless the encyclopedias were very old, earlier than World War II, then people might want them for the maps. This was another job I did with my brother-in-law, who was visiting and finding out he did not want to start a business like this in Florida. I think it would be a good business with all those second homes of snowbird retirees, but I haven't studied the market in the Southeast. I spent 7 days at this house. The first day was spent sorting clothing for 2 hours, and the second day was myself and a helper sorting through clothing and paperwork for 5 hours. More sorting of papers on the third day with a different helper, and we also worked on sorting the basement. That day, Junk to the Dump came, and I went back the next day to meet them again for an hour and a half. The last day, I met Associated Auctioneers, and they took 17 pieces of furniture and 3 rugs to auction. College hunks hauling junk came while I was there with the auction company to take away a final load of trash, and then I took the books that the auction company didn't want to sell to the Wheaton Library, where they have a bookstore that raises money for the library. One of the photos shows some blonde bedroom furniture. Usually the auction companies didn't want this color of wood furniture, but that may have changed as I know the retro look is more popular now. In all, we worked 44 hours on this job. The next job was in a Sunrise senior building in Gaithersburg, Maryland. The woman was the last remaining member alive of her family, and she had been placed in a nursing home. One of the lawyer's paralegals took clothing and a TV over to the nursing home for the woman to use. You can see she liked Japanese-influenced furniture from the photos. This job only took 12 hours, as it was a small one-bedroom, and my helper was able to take the auction items in his van to Associated Auctioneers. Not much more to say about this job. The next house was in Bethesda. There was some interesting wildlife, art, and family portraits. The paintings were shipped to London, and the art supplies left over from the woman's painting days were shipped to Arizona. This job took only 3 hours, which was fine by me. The owner had been an animal lover, and the house had that closed-in smell of wet animals. People don't want to buy furniture that smells of smoke or animals, even if it doesn't have any stains on it. And lastly, there was a row house in Northwest Washington, D.C., which took 35 hours to clean out with 2 helpers. A locksmith came to change the locks on the outside doors the same day I met the paralegal from the attorney's office and assessed the work to be done. I've included a link to a 35-page document that explains how to prepare for an inventory and appraisal. This document was done by the D.C. court system and is very educational. It states that an appraisal can be done by the standing court appraiser in D.C. That is how it was done for this house. That was a free appraisal that D.C. court offers. but not every area has a standing court appraiser. The personal representative lived in New York City and had taken the woman's car there. 5 days after the assessment, I met with the PR who came down from New York City. The next 6 days were spent cleaning out the 3-level home. One day I met the woman's nephew, who picked out some items to take home with him. A few days later, I met another man who was related to the family, and he took a few items, and I packed up my car with the items my helpers and I had sorted through and took bags of clothing to the Prevention of Blindness charity. The final 2 days, Junk to the Dump came to take away trash, and I did one more charity run to the National Children's Center. You will see the person lived very simply. There was a lot of painted furniture, which I think they did themselves. There was also a plastic-covered couch, love seat, and chair that looked pristine. Too bad no one ever got to touch the fabric. There's a gold vinyl chair. You don't see that every day. There was a curved curio cabinet, which one of the family kept. The 3 dressers were nice with metal strips and handles. The dirty cot on wheels was another story. I can't imagine asking anyone to sleep on it. That's all for now. I'd like it if you would hit the like, subscribe buttons, write a comment, or suggestions for future episodes. Bye.